The war had taken everything from warlord Jathon. His mate, his clan holdings, even his honor among the Cravathi prides. When the Obsidian fleet decimated his world, he made a choice that would have seen him exiled in better times. He brought his 3 cubs to the human settlement on Kepler 442b and left them at the feet of Captain Nora Vale. "You will keep them alive," he had growled, his massive form trembling with barely contained grief. "Teach them to survive. I will return when the war is won." Captain Vale had looked up at the 8-foot predator, his obsidian fur matted with ash and blood, and simply nodded. She didn't make promises she couldn't keep. But she would try. That was 12 standard years ago. The Cravathi were apex predators, evolved from pack hunters on a world where everything wanted to kill you. They had claws that could rend steel, enhanced reflexes, and a warrior culture that made Spartans look soft. Their empire had dominated 3 sectors until the Obsidian fleet came. Nobody expected humans to take in their young. The cubs were feral at first. Rakor, the eldest, had tried to bite Vale's hand off within the first hour. The other 2, Shanri and Takmar, refused to eat anything she offered. They huddled in the corner of the habitat dome, hissing at every human who passed. But Captain Nora Vale had not survived the frontier wars by giving up easily. She brought them meat from her own rations. She sat with them in silence night after night, asking nothing in return. She taught them human words, slowly, patiently. When Rakor finally spoke his first sentence in broken English, "Why you help us?" Vale had smiled. "Because someone should," she had replied simply. The human colony on Kepler 442b was a rough place. Miners, soldiers, terraformers, and everyone running from something. It wasn't paradise, but it was honest work and honest people. The Cravathi cubs learned quickly that humans didn't care about their claws or their fangs. What mattered was whether you pulled your weight. Rakor took to the mining crews. His natural strength made him invaluable in the deep excavations. Shanri found her place in the medical tents, her precise claws perfect for delicate surgical work. Tokmar, the youngest, became fascinated with human engineering and spent his days in the machine shops. But it was Vale who shaped them most. Every evening she would gather them and teach. Not just survival skills, but strategy, leadership, ethics. She taught them human history, the wars, the mistakes, the resilience. She taught them that strength without wisdom was just violence, and violence without purpose was just cruelty. "Your father left you here to survive," she told them one night under the alien stars. "But survival isn't enough. You need to know what you're surviving for." Rakor never forgot those words. When the transmission came that warlord Jathon had fallen in the final battle against the Obsidian fleet, Vale expected the cubs to break. Instead, Rakor stood taller. His siblings flanked him, and together they made a vow. They would finish what their father started, but they wouldn't do it the Cravathi way. They would do it the human way. Rakor organized the colony's defense volunteers, integrating human tactics with Cravathi ferocity. Shanri trained combat medics who could operate under fire. Takmar built weapons that combined human ingenuity with Cravathi raw power. Within 2 years, they had transformed a ragtag group of colonists into something formidable. Word spread across the sector. Refugees from destroyed worlds came seeking the humans' cubs, the Cravathi who fought differently. Not with blind rage, but with calculated fury. Not for glory, but for survival of all. The Legion grew. It was 5 years later when the Obsidian fleet made their mistake. They attacked a human medical convoy near the Kepler system, thinking it an easy target. They didn't know Rakor's Legion was stationed nearby. The battle was brutal and swift. Rakor led from the front, his tactics a perfect fusion of Cravathi aggression and human strategy. Shanri's medics saved dozens under impossible conditions. Takmar's experimental weapons tore through Obsidian shields like paper. When the smoke cleared, the Obsidian commander requested parley. He wanted to know who had defeated them. Rakor stepped forward, now fully grown, his dark fur crossed with scars of 100 battles. Behind him stood 5,000 warriors, Cravathi, humans, and a dozen other species united under a single banner. "I am Rakor, son of warlord Jathon," he announced, his voice carrying the weight of command. "But I was raised by Captain Nora Vale of Earth. We are her legion, and we do not forget our debts." The Obsidian commander looked at the mixed species force in disbelief. Impossible. The Cravathi fight alone, always. "We did," Rakor replied, "and we lost. Humans taught us something better. They taught us that strength isn't just in claws and fangs. It's in unity, in purpose, in fighting for something beyond yourself. Captain Vale stood at the back of the formation, watching her cubs command their legion with pride swelling in her chest. They had grown into leaders she could barely have imagined that first terrified night. After the battle, Rakor found her. He knelt, bringing his massive frame level with her eyes. "Our father left us to survive," he said quietly. "You taught us to live, to lead, to be more than our rage." He placed a clawed hand over his heart in the human gesture she had taught him years ago. "We will never forget." Vale smiled, her eyes bright. "Your father would be proud, Rakor. Not because you command a legion, but because you know why you fight." The legion moved on the next day, carrying the banner of two worlds. The Cravathi cubs had returned, not as orphans, but as commanders. They carried human wisdom in their hearts and Cravathi courage in their blood. And across the sector, the Obsidian fleet learned to fear the name that united them all: Vale's Legion. The Alpha had left his cubs in human care. They returned commanding an army. But more than that, they returned knowing something their father never learned: that the strongest pack isn't bound by blood, but by choice. And humanity had chosen them first.